Exoprimal is a new cross-platform game by Capcom that's set to release in July. It's an online-only third-person hero shooter MMO where mechs and dinosaurs collide with elements of PvPvE. Its incredible visuals, animations, and designs are paired with captivating and immersive environments, all while still having constant action, whether it's from small hordes, big dinosaurs, or even other players. It's like if Anthem was transported into the Jurassic Park universe while Left 4 Dead was running. It's great to look at in an exciting world with an engaging concept. In other words, it's like if Sucker Punch was a game and not a terrible movie. Exoprimal will be priced at $60 for the base game and $70 for the deluxe game. Exoprimal also has a paid battle pass, store, and will be a live service game. Although it has so much to offer, does it really justify its price tag? With most of the popular hero shooters on Twitch being free, Exoprimal needs to be able to show that it brings a unique experience with a very high replayability value, which begs the question, does it? Welcome back everybody, my name is Lunar Symphony, and let's break down Exoprimal. Right off the bat, I was impressed by the smooth performance of the game, despite the waves of dinosaurs and explosions on the screen. Heck, a friend I was playing with was using a GTX 1040 with no issues. The beautiful graphics are comparable to other big games like Destiny, Call of Duty, and even Apex. There's a small learning curve, and with easy mechanics for execution partnered with an intuitive and simple UI, it's really easy to pick up and is instantaneous fun. The combat is easy to understand, and each exosuit feels unique. With smooth gameplay and absence of bugs, this was a fantastic beta. And visually speaking for a beta, the models look good. The dinosaurs and exosuits look polished. I was definitely impressed to say the least. I was drawn in when I saw this game from the trailer, and to experience it firsthand was certainly worth it. The environment is interesting with cool visuals like androids, holograms, and even black holes. It had a visually captivating variety of maps such as skyscrapers, ruins, and an airport. The game has very good performance even on below minimum requirements. I didn't experience any lag or screen tearing, nor did any of the people I played with. Even with hundreds of dinosaurs swarming, explosions, gunfire, and abilities, the game was as smooth as Mr. Clean's head. The character animations also look crisp and unique with no duplicated animations for each exosuit. And for a beta, the lack of visual bugs was also impressive. Speaking of the exosuits, the characters felt fun and unique with no overlaps in gameplay style. In my experience, they also didn't feel like a one-to-one knockoff of other characters from similar games. Each character has a role to fill, and the gameplay will inherently let you know what role you're lacking. For example, if there's no healer, the team will start dying to the smaller mobs and will die with higher frequency. With no DPS, you'll have slower clear speeds, and the game will let you know when you see the shadows of the enemy team way ahead of you.
Slower? Oh no, but we're like...
And no tank means the team gets mobbed, as tanks can provide a taunt, a shield, or even a bulky offense. Personally, I loved playing the tank Murasame and the healer Nimbus. Murasame is a tanky offense that doesn't necessarily provide team protection, but rather the ability to take point with movement to get out of situations. This same aspect works in PvP for taking point for offense and chasing down enemies. With an insanely satisfying short-range ult to deal massive damage, it's great for PvE boss monsters, and if paired with a time-freezing ult, it's devastating in PvP.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness!
I'm going in for a flank.
Destroyed them.
Nimbus, on the other hand, is a support. Nimbus has a unique function to swap between healing and damage dealing pistols. With an AoE, depending on the type of gun equipped, it can either heal allies or deal damage in a small space to get enemies off of you. Being a versatile support, Nimbus can deal excellent damage from range and can target flying enemies. With an ultimate that pushes enemies while also healing teammates, the options for gameplay style are limitless. Nimbus can also utilize their Phantom to teleport or pick up fallen teammates with their Phantom, as long as it doesn't get destroyed. Nimbus has a playstyle that is fun for both offense and defensive purposes.
Are people carried? Oh, they're outside.
I ulted them, I pushed them inside. Nice, dude. Combo! Now, I won't go into all the suits since there are 10 of them, and they all have so many unique features, but feel free to look them up. I'm certain you'll resonate with at least one of them. Because of the diverse range of activities this game provides, I can definitely see the potential for further unique suits, such as a Dino Tamer or Trapper. Well, as long as they aren't sold to us. And on the topic of extras, let's talk about mechanics. There's an extra layer of customization with the changeable equipment that makes up for a character's weakness. This adds another dimension to the game's experience. Depending on the needs of the moment, a player can change suits and equipment, whether it's for offense or defense, PvE or PvP. Having versatility to change your equipment and the different niches they fill whenever a player wants is an excellent design choice.
Nah, that's good.
This exemplifies the simplicity and low learning curve, as it can help players learn their suits as well as flexibility in their style. And at the same time, this also introduces a high skill ceiling, as different equipment introduces new possibilities for combinations. This is not only for equipment, but for technique and execution as well. In terms of game mechanics, objectives were a little unclear at first, and the tutorial definitely didn't do much to explain the different objectives. It essentially boiled down to killing a certain number of specific dinosaurs, escort missions, or defending. While the last two are a little more obvious, killing specific dinosaurs isn't made obvious at first. It's only when you see there's a counter on the top of your screen that it becomes an aha moment. But without knowing that, you would be wasting time killing other mobs wave after wave, letting the enemy team gain a lead. Once you get the hang of it though, objectives are simple, the movement is intuitive, and the abilities and controls are easy to understand. The Watcher will inform you if you're faster or slower than the enemy team with your objectives. This will let players know that their team needs to pick up the pace by clearing more efficiently or changing their team dynamic up. I don't think the Watcher will necessarily have the same role in PvE, but the beta only had a PvPvE in its testing, and I felt that for this game mode it was a great addition. It helped the sense of urgency, which keeps both the PvE and PvP portions of the game an adrenaline-filled experience, making you want to play another round. The game does have catch-up mechanics, such as summoning your own giant dinosaur or dominator to interfere with the enemy's objectives. It's a really fun mechanic and can be a strategic way to slow your opponents down by even intentionally letting them take the lead if your team is confident in other missions to take the lead back. There are also drops in each game mode that vary from walls to turrets or platforms. They can be used for both PvP and PvE advantages and should be used strategically. With so many mechanics to this game, there's always something that needs to be done from all members of the team. Completing objectives, tanking, dealing damage, casting support moves, and healing. This game even has an overheal mechanic that temporarily gives teammates extra health that diminishes over time, so even the supports will remain busy and it won't just be a hack and slash with periods of healing. And the player will also be busy with sounds. The gameplay sounds were phenomenal, from the sounds of impact, shooting, healing, abilities, explosions, swords, and even movement, to the roars of the different dinosaurs charging you were fantastic and immersive. I would say that the only major complaint in the sounds department was the music. The game lacked any kind of good soundtrack. It absolutely needed better music. It can help those tense moments feel that much more engaging. If your team is behind, a soundtrack as an auditory cue would help. Knowing when the enemy team has summoned a Dominator with an ominous soundtrack, only to turn around and having a rampaging T-Rex behind you would be incredible. Or get your adrenaline flowing when the game is about to end and both teams are fighting to finish their objective, lest they be subject to the downfall of the swarms of dinosaurs.
Got it. Yes! Nice! Dude, it's always so sweaty on the last one. It's crazy. Good hustle, boys. Good hustle.
So, does this game hold up? The short answer is, yeah, this game has a ton of replay value. Each round took anywhere between 15 to 20 minutes, giving a satisfying amount of content per round for both PvP and PvE, with PvP often being the determining factor on length of games due to the nature of it.
Oh,
The intensity and
fucking
immersion of the
ulted.
game make the game's minutes feel like so much has happened, and when you look back at the clock, only 15 minutes have passed. Because the rounds are in such a sweet spot of duration with satisfying content, an hour of
Yeah,
time will
it's
give
really,
anyone
really
a
close
satisfying
neck to neck,
amount
but-
of gameplay. And now the core of the game. This is the section where I can see where most of the issues would come from, but not necessarily in terms of execution. In general, PvP was an incredible experience. It was fun, exciting, satisfying, and with a ton of heart-racing moments. Clutching out situations at the edge of your seat was always a great feeling, and this game had no shortage of those moments. Battling players with dinosaurs causing havoc gives an element of surprise which can turn the tides. Managing your character's cooldowns and abilities is critical, and having dinosaurs in the fray forces a player to make snap decisions in some moments which changes a traditional PvP aspect. Seldom were there any moments that I wasn't marinating in my own sweat looking like a slow-roasted hot dog as our teams duked it out.
Oh, yo, we won! Nice, dude! Oh my goodness.
Clutch.
What a game. If we look at the numbers, we can actually see that we were doing better overall except our healer. Like, that was literally the turning point. Like, when somebody swapped a healer. Yeah, when Zolti, you swapped a healer, that changed the game.
He was so bad. I think he was only using the DPS one.
Yo, MVP?
Guilty.
That makes sense, makes sense.
However, I am a fan of PvP in games, whether it's an arcade fighter, MMORPG, or an FPS, so I'm a little biased in this aspect. I can also see players who would only want to do PvP, whether it's a 5v5 or 1v1 without dinosaurs. Now, from a PvE aspect, there are certainly players who would prefer to do only that. PvP can be anxiety-inducing and not the friendliest environment.
Nice.
Some
Got one
suits
of 'em.
simply aren't ideal for both PvE and PvP situations, and that's perfectly
in with the
normal,
heals.
but it can force people out of their comfort zone, and regardless of how well a person's team is doing in the PvE section, if a player doesn't want to do PvP, they can still lose, and it's not a great experience for anyone on that team. I've seen some players leave during the PvP section only to be replaced by a bot to help with the team imbalance, though bots aren't always the most helpful.
Okay,
This makes the PvPvE experience worse because of these exact issues. Plain and simple, it
Oh my
favors the
goodness.
PvP aspect. Since even if a
I
team is
gotta go.
behind by a minute or two, as long as their PvP game is stronger, they can stop the
Nice.
opposing team and prevent them from playing. It's extremely discouraging. Although there is a rare occasion wherein your team is so efficient with the PvE section, and if the final PvP game mode of that map is the hammer one, you can win the game without even having seen the enemy team at all, since the only PvP interaction that occurs is at the very end of all the objectives.
I think we just win.
yeah, we do. Damn, we didn't even see the enemy team.
Yeah. Here comes the dinosaur.
Oh, the Dominator? Dang. Alright. Nice easy one to end the night on.
This game is online only, meaning you'll be forced to play with other people. Hopefully there are PvE only sections, and they can definitely expand on the PvE system with something like raids.
Grenadier.
It can also be a way to unlock other items such as cosmetics to incentivize PvE only content. Now, as a side note, most suits felt fine, except the Witch Doctor, which was probably the least played suit. As for the PvE aspect, he's not too useful because he has no range, and in a PvP aspect, his AoE healing doesn't really help the team since teams are generally split up and too far away to stay in his small circle. So in a PvPvE aspect, that exosuit has failed to perform in either spectrum. And yet, on the other hand, the ninja-like CQC exosuit, Zephyr, was probably overtuned for damage. He could
Nice,
deal
dude.
massive damage in PvP and PvE.
Dang.
High mobility,
was a
easy
good ult.
execution combos, overpowered ultimate, and high damage output. There wasn't a single game I didn't see this character. It got to a point where seeing multiple of these characters on the MVP screen was common. A versatile suit like this for a PvPvE game mode is an easy choice, if too easy.
Fucking brawler. Yeah, dude. Just the ending. We're just duking it out. Okay, I see the same robot 3 times on this screen.
While the ability to change at any point is always good, maybe introducing a role queue for the PvP section would be beneficial. It's frustrating when everyone wants to play the same suit, and it's not the appropriate time for that.
This guy's so creepy, man. I need the lore. This guy's terrifying.
Dang, the other side spawned 3 Muramasas. Or Murasames. Holy.
But it's certainly a tricky situation since that's a key aspect of the game. But balancing the PvP and PvE needs are extremely different. To sum it up, PvPvE was a phenomenal introduction to the game, but forcing the PvP aspect isolates the player base, which is especially bad when the game needs to appeal to the players before it even hits the market in July. Perhaps it was due to it being a beta and another game mode wasn't available at the time. Exoprimal does promise to have a PvE only content, so hopefully that can appeal to those who would prefer not to do PvP. With some balancing tweaks and more game modes, I think these issues can be resolved. So let's break down the pros. Each exosuit is fun, unique, and they are beautifully animated. It's likely a player can resonate with a specific exosuit. Environments and level design were great. The variety of objects on the map are good. There's a low barrier to entry while still maintaining a pretty high skill ceiling. It's very easy to hop in for the first time and have fun no matter what your skill level is. Both PvE and PvP content are fun and engaging. The game runs very smoothly, and for a beta, surprisingly there were no bugs. Now, let's take a look at the cons. There's a lack of interactive components with dinosaurs. For example, there's no ability to choose the dinosaur you summon for your Dominator, whether it's for PvE or PvP. And Dominators only really pop up if you're behind in the PvPvE section, so I'm not sure if that'll be addressed in the PvE sections. Some skills and classes excel in only one game mode type. It would be interesting if there were alternative skills to fit each game type, but maybe that would interfere with the creation of future exosuits so the exosuits don't really overlap too much in playability. There's a distinct lack of an interesting soundtrack, which can make the game feel a little hollow at some points. There was somewhat a lack of distinct dinosaur variety, with mobs, special dinosaurs, and even the big dinosaurs. It kind of felt like just shooting a different colored raptor each time. Some of the exosuits need some balancing for support and damage outputs, so that they can be viable in both PvP and PvE. And let's not forget the premium price tag. For $60 and with all the other additions, it's hard to justify buying this game. And to sum it up, if you skipped over the entire video, Exoprimal is an incredible game with heart-racing combat, engaging concept, and has a diverse, unique cast of characters. Its PvP and PvE content provide plenty of replay value. While there are a few areas that could be improved, such as the soundtrack, PvP and PvE interactions with dinosaurs, balancing, and solo PvE content, it was still an addictive experience, especially for a beta. With a low learning curve but high skill ceiling, this game is easy to get into regardless of experience in this genre. The open beta was 3 unique maps in different environments with many unique suits to play. If the beta shows even a third of the game's launch content, I would say it might be worth the price tag. If there are more maps, suits, dinosaurs, and game modes, unfortunately, that also means that the initial price tag, live service model, and battle pass will discourage a lot of other players, making the initial pool of players smaller at the start. Essentially, this game needs to come out of the game strong, and cosmetics, shop items, and battle passes are not the way to do it. No one else is going to see the skin you bought if there aren't any players left, and it doesn't matter if you're hitting the same dinosaurs with a different colored weapon. If you're looking for a unique game with a ton of potential, then Exoprimal is definitely worth checking out. And I know I've been singing its praises, however, objectively speaking, my recommendation is to actually hold off on buying this game immediately, but absolutely check out gameplay videos of the beta, and if you like what you see what it has to offer on launch. I personally loved the beta and played 8 hours straight. And if you want to see gameplay footage from the beta, drop a comment and I can upload some of my games. You can also check out my VOD on Twitch, link in the description. I might pick up a copy to review the full release version and see if it really does deliver, so let me know if that's something you'd also like to see. But until then, wherever you are in the big wide world, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Oh yes.
Let's go.
Heels on wheels, baby.
Wow, these dinosaurs ate my ass.
Oh my goodness. I just got booted by an AI. You know what I realized? That the female suits, even though my character is a dude, still sounds like a female. Like my voice changes every time I hop into a different suit. So like the suits have like predetermined voices.
Yeah, it's voice modulators.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. How can you have robot waifus if you can't?
So you don't know who's in the suit, dude?
Yeah.
Oh no. I think my
Think about
character looks like Pooty Pooty Prisoner from One Punch Man.
Pooty prisoner.
I forgot about that character. You have activated a brain cell that hasn't been on for a while.
Oh yeah, he's been asleep.